Yeah, Jamaica is telling you what's going on every step of the way that I encounter corruption. I never seen so much corruption in so much official government buildings. Nowhere. I've seen this in movies, watching Al Capone mob movies, and they talk about how he had so much politicians, lawyers, judges in his pocket, and the places that would turn faces when his name is popped up. But in real life, in a Jamaica, yeah, the corruption terrible. Them stopped me from submitting documents to the appeal, the Supreme Court of Appeal. Deputy Registry, Mr. Williams, when I hear the name again, Williams, him work down at the Supreme Court of Appeal. Mr. Williams himself name him at the Deputy Registry. Stopped me from submitting my documents, stating all kinds of nonsense, wanting to ask me about my case, do I have a lawyer, and all of these other things that is not relevant. Just trying to find out a background before they do the corruption they were said to do. That is at the Supreme Court building Friday. So I left from there, sir, and I go to the court's administration in New Kingston, 25 Dominica Drive or something like that. And when I went there, I was stopped by the security. She asked me what am I there for. I told her I was there to speak to someone pertaining to the things that was taking place to me being held by hostage on the 31st of March 2026 in the Halfway Tree Courthouse after my court date, and also me being blocked from fair hearing. You know, I cannot help myself by going to study law at the Supreme Court Library. I'm not allowed to enter there along with other things. And she said, okay, go inside and talk to the secretary. I went inside and I told the secretary the same thing. She said, hold on and call somebody. During this time, I'm waiting for someone to come. A gentleman, maybe about 6'4", very light skin, very light skin. You could pass him for almost a white man, but he's not a white man. He's a black man, but he's very light skinned, maybe mixed parents, I don't know. But he's tall, 6'4", maybe about 220 pounds, 230 pounds. And he stood there watching me, and I'm watching him out the side of my eye, realizing he's watching me, but I never paid him much attention. The person came out to speak to me, and I started telling her about the issues that I'm having and what is going on. And after telling her that, I was expecting her to probably say, all right, let's go discuss this in our office or something. She stood there in the lobby, and she started saying other things to me, like they can't help me and it's nothing they can do there. And I couldn't get a sentence out after I told her what I told her. I basically seen her mind was made up to tell me to go home. However, upon me asking her to please just finish a sentence and explain what's going on with me, she just walked away in the middle of me talking to her and went to the security desk. Before this happened, by the way, I asked the security at the court administration building when I was sitting there waiting on somebody to come before the lady came out that I was talking to. I asked the security because it was type funny. I asked the security, shouldn't I sign my name in or something? Everybody that comes here, don't they have to, sign your name in or something? She was like, no. I said, all right. Then that's when the lady came and I was talking to her, and to the point where I was at with her in the middle of my conversation, she just walked to the security and told him to tell me to leave. So I asked her, why would you do something like that, as if I was doing something wrong or I was arguing, cursing, getting loud, anything like nothing out the way. And she just did that. And I looked at her and I asked her about that, and she said, I asked to talk to the manager. She said she's the manager, and then she told him not to let me back on the floor. That was the 8th floor. That the court administration. She told him not to let me. So I seen the corruption there. Um, I don't want no problems with no security, so I complied with him telling me to leave and left. Now, this isn't normal, Jamaica. The corruption I've encountered, I'm trying to get an apartment, and they contact the people that I go look at homes with and let them know all kinds of terrible things and try to scare them or bribe them not to give me. A lawyer robbed me some money when I tried to retain a lawyer, and I tried to report him to the general law counsel or to the legal law council, whatever it is downtown Kingston. They made fuss with me, they argued with me. I made videos and posted that. I went to halfway tree where I'm putting in documents that is not being submitted. They're giving me all kinds of problems there. Giving me other things to sign that the judge didn't order. Corruption there. I went to the Attorney General's office, was basically told there was nothing I could do there by Miss Chambers at the Attorney General office. I go to the Supreme Court, can't get to use, they stopped me from going into the Supreme Court building. I go to the Ministry of Justice, ask for a JP that could sign a document that I needed to put in. I'm being told that there's no JP there that can sign no document for me, and the JP gotta know me to sign any documents for me. So I'm witnessing corruption there. I go to the Ministry of National Security, where I post those videos of people stamping papers with fraudulent stamps that don't even have security, Ministry of National Security on it. I went to the civil court, the Supreme Civil Court building, to get some documents stamped and signed by a JP to submit to courts. The JP there refused. So I go to the public defender office, and basically I'm being given a runaround there because it's only one person seemed like that can take a report from me. So I already seen the setup there and the corruption. So all these places, I go to IPRO, which was where I was arrested by Officer Miss Sutherland and given fraudulent charges of offensive weapon and disorderly conduct. And before that I went there reporting numerous times police have assaulted me and abused me. I have the receipts, I posted those videos, nothing, never submitted with me. So this corrupt police organization has people in places to stop them from being exposed. I go to Indicom, Warren Williams at Indicom tell me to leave the building and that I'm not to come back in there, and they're not taking any report from me about corrupt and abusive officers. I go to Mocha, Mark Williams there at Mocha basically told me nothing is going anywhere, and no report is being taken from me, and none wasn't taken. Stopped me there. I don't see nothing more than this. Have to have a mafia cartel type of underground workings is going on within the force. This is not just a regular 5 or 6 police officers that is corrupt. They have people in high places that is in this corruption ring, and it got to be the Jamaican mafia itself, because this is mafia's work, or it's a mafia cartel but pulling the strings behind this corrupt police drug smuggling criminal enterprise, and network, organized network. So I'm there with frustration up to my head because they have me in court, and because I on my previous judge that was on my case, I put in a recusal, and that's for her to remove herself, and that's because all of my constitutional rights that she was violating, and it was plain to see. I put in the recusal, and she accepted it and removed herself off my case. That just proved within itself that she knows she was doing corruption and was violating my constitutional rights, because it's only an offensive weapon and disorderly conduct charge. It wasn't in the act of being used in a crime, it was only caught on my body. So why would a judge remove herself off such case and not just make a simple decision on a simple case like that? The corruption was exposed. Therefore, they don't want me to submit any more documents. So they're stopping me every way they can from submitting court documents, right? That is how Friday I went down there to put in the appeal on the change of bail condition that this judge, Judge Elaine or something like that, ordered in the middle of my trial after I've been going to back and forth to court from the 13th of the 6th when I got bail 2025 until March 31st. Never missed a court date, never been late for court, and all of a sudden in the middle of trial, this judge postponed trial from the 31st of March to the 21st of April and give me conditions such as I'm not to go back to iProbe and I'm to report to a police station twice a week. She did this without stating a reason for why she did this. This is a breach, a violation of my constitutional rights. So I'm putting in an appeal on that. They're stopping me from doing it. After the court case, I was held hostage at the halfway tree. 5 police officers and a prosecutor and a secretary held me hostage in the office, telling me I wouldn't be leaving the building unless I signed some documents. I posted these videos, and they have been switching up my post from different accounts to different accounts because they have hackers messing with my phone, so I had to change names. Sometime I couldn't get through on posting any videos, so I was using Mana Morrison at one time, Manna Morrison, and then I was using Tyrone Morrison, my proper name, Tyrone and Tyrone Morrison, and then I was using Trono Norris, which is Tyrono, Trono Norris, Noris. So mainly those 3, but I have videos I've posted on Tyrell Morris, also Ty Morrison. It's incredible. The corruption it's too much. This is definitely a mafia cartel operation. This is not just a bunch of corrupt police getting together and doing what they're doing. All the officers that held me hostage at Halfway Tree have been transferred from their duties at Halfway Tree. So that clearly shows that corruption is high up the ladder for these transferred to be granted overnight, and for them to be moved from Halfway Tree just because of the corruption they did, Can't say much more, but I gotta put it out there. I never seen nothing like this but in a movie, The corruption it's past mafia level. This is past some corrupt police. It's gotta be mafia. Gots to be a mafia cartel organized criminal enterprise that is, behind something like bribing out the court administration building, the Supreme Court, the courts of appeal, Halfway Tree Court, the Justice, the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of National Security. It goes on and on. How, what organization can be so, vast and I don't even know the words to say it. So much corruption in so much different places to stop me from justice. I just had to put it out there.